Grambling versus Ohio State is going down in 2025, and I appear to be in the minority of people who just don't understand the hype around this matchup. Oh yeah, it's locked on HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked On HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor and current contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Make a Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, just because the mic cuts off does not mean that the journey is over. It just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Starts with an S and ends with an S. I should have started my episode off by saying, and let's practice with me now, guys, que se passe-t-il en famille? I know I didn't do that well, but que se passe-t-il en famille? That means what's going on, family. And I'm kicking it off with a little bit of French. And I hope that my French teacher from high school is a tad bit proud that I pulled this out, because the HBCU All Stars are going international to Paris for a Streetball Championship. And they are actually on the plane as you are hearing this. But we kick it off with a two-part, a little bit of a double feature, just like yesterday was a two-part feature on FAMU, the football team, and then the basketball team. Today's episode kicks off with a two-part feature with Grambling football and Grambling basketball. We'll look at Dante Jackson, the head men's basketball coach's extension, and how it's directly correlated to his victory in the NCAA tournament. But we kick it off with Grambling versus Ohio State, and this one is on the gridiron. I don't necessarily understand the hype behind this game. When the news was broken, Mason Smith, friend of the show, friend of mine, text me, Grambling versus Ohio State. I think it was in all caps with a large amount of excitement. I didn't share that excitement. First off, I didn't, he broke the news to me, so I had to go see what the heck he was talking about. But once I did, I was just like, and I seen some things. I didn't exactly take note of who said it or how often I seen it, but I did see a couple of people express some excitement about this game. And I still was like, to me, Grambling versus Ohio State is just a regular money game. It's one that I've seen countless times. Not literally, because Ohio State has only ever faced two HBCUs, and this is number two. Grambling has never played a Big Ten opponent. So I can't say literally I've seen this happen before, but I feel like I've had this same feeling from other games. Let this be FAMU versus North Carolina, and this was no different to me. I don't know what it is that has everybody so excited. I can guess a little bit, but I don't necessarily share that. And to be clear, there are money games that break the mold, like Grambling versus LSU. LSU versus Southern, especially LSU versus Southern, with them sharing a city, right? They're both in Baton Rouge. So, like, them sharing a city made this special. Maybe Grambling versus LSU sharing a state made it special. And it doesn't just stop in football. Grambling versus LSU women's basketball. The neutral site aspect of that made it interesting to me. Alabama coming to Alabama A&M women's basketball made this interesting to me. But when I look at Grambling versus Ohio State, there's no real connective tissue that gets me going outside of it just being a money game, just like every other money game is. So now let me say this. One thing that does get me is the bag. And Grambling is getting the bag to go out there to Columbus. To face Ohio State, the Grambling Tigers are about to get $1 million. Okay, that's nothing to shrug at. That's nothing I can scoff. Now that's got me excited. I don't know if that's everybody. I don't know if that's what got everybody excited. I'm right here on the train, and I'm sorry that I'm about to waste the next couple of minutes of your time. Maybe I just misunderstood where the excitement was coming from. But I feel like I saw the excitement before the official numbers were revealed, at least before I saw the official numbers. And it just seemed like people were excited, like, oh, Grambling, Ohio State, this is a big deal. And in a way, it is. I think that there's two reasons on why one could be excited about a Grambling versus Ohio State matchup. Okay. The reason that they could be excited is, number one, these are two legendary universities. Number two, the rarity of Ohio State facing an HBCU. My problem with both of these, I have a problem with both of these. My first problem with the legendary universities is that, yes, that is true. In reality, that is true. But I think another part of reality is that that's not going to be promoted. I don't know if Grambling is going to promote, Ohio State is going to promote Grambling as a legendary university, because that's just not how HBCUs have been treated on a national scale for a long time. They don't usually lean into the fact that you got Eddie Robb in the history of Grambling. Like this is a historic university, specifically when you're talking about the football team. And if they lean into that, I'm ready to eat my words. I just haven't seen enough nationally for me to believe that Ohio State will lean into that. I think that this will be just another game as they ramp up into their conference schedule for Ohio State. For Grambling, you will probably hear a lot about the history. I know you will for Grambling's. From Grambling's side, I think you'll hear it because it allows you to bring up Grambling's history. And just bringing up Grambling's history kind of feels odd without also kind of putting it side by side with Ohio State's history, right? So I think that you'll see it from Grambling's side, but that's not enough for me to get excited. Y'all just talking about how this is two historic universities. I respect that, but that doesn't jump off the screen special, right? Like there's things that make this special. That's one of them. But it's not jump off the screen. It's not, oh, I'm so excited. Like, oh, that's cool. That's what it is to me. That's my kind of reaction for a lot of this. Oh, that's cool. Also, once again, if they do compare the university and say how historic it is leading up on national television, then I'll be like, oh, it's being treated as special. But because I don't think it's going to be viewed through that lens from most people, I don't even think Grambling is really going to be sitting here thinking about it. I don't think Grambling fans are going to be sitting here thinking about Ohio State's history as they go into that. I don't think that you'll be feeling that way. That's why I think it's a tad bit disingenuous. It's a cool moment, but it's not, oh my gosh. Then you look at the rarity of it. And this is maybe me being strict. I might be a little bit strict with this one. But this isn't the first time that Ohio State has faced an HBCU. It's the second time. And though it's a rarity, and that's still really cool, it's still a special moment, it's not all caps, oh my gosh, for me, because I've seen them play FAMU. And at least when they play FAMU, you had the Hubbard connective tissue of, oh, that was a former Ohio State alum who then came into FAMU and led them to high success. So the universities have a little bit of tie-in together, even though Hubbard wasn't there anymore. I'm looking for something that jumps off the screen, because the reaction feels like this should jump off the screen. I don't necessarily get that same feeling. They did get $1 million though. Now that's a big deal. I love the $1 million. And you know what? If this was Tennessee State, if Tennessee State with Eddie George still as the coach ever goes to play Ohio State, it'd be a big deal. This ain't that. That's the best way to put it. To me, this is just like FAMU facing North Carolina. You just get a big bag to get it done. Now, as we push forward, let's keep it in Grambling. We're going to keep it in Grambling, Louisiana, but we're going to move around the campus from the football field over to the basketball court, because Dante Jackson has received a contract extension, a very minor one, but it comes because of a very major level of success. And we'll look at that as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. And if you want to fix up your car, whether just for aesthetics or for actual utility, there's only one place that I would recommend you to go, and that is eBay Motors. When my friend had car troubles, I say, look, go ahead and get you a part from eBay Motors. Tell your mechanic that you have the part and just have the labor. Because having them to go get part after part after part, no. It's not worth it. At eBay Motors, you'll have great quality with significantly better prices. I don't like saying cheap anymore. I don't like saying that anymore, because a lot of time cheap comes with a stigma that the material is cheap, as in not really quality. And that's never the case with eBay Motors. You get phenomenal products at even better prices. So you go to ebaymotors.com. Maybe you need to fix up your car. Maybe you just want to make it look better, get some LED lights. Maybe you need to fix up some of your AC, your alternate. Doesn't matter what it is or what you need. Just put your car into the My Garage section. And once you do that, you'll be able to see which of the 120 million parts at ebaymotors.com fits for your car. So take care of your ride or die because you want that car to take care of you. Go to ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. As we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day. Every day for your second listen, make sure you're checking out Locked On Sports Today. It's the first of its kind, 24/7, all day, every day, live sports network on YouTube. Go ahead and see what's happening before you listen to me and after, because I guarantee you it's going to be must-see content. Now, Dante Jackson extension proves how much Grambling appreciated his NCAA tournament appearance and victory this past season. So that the one that just ended in 2024, Grambling men's basketball head coach Dante Jackson won his first game in the NCAA tournament. And not only was this his first game, it was also his first appearance. Not only was it his first appearance, it was Grambling's first appearance ever in school history, which also means that it was Grambling's first victory ever in school history. So when you're looking at what Dante Jackson has been able to accomplish, not just this year, but the year prior, he has been on a historic 2-year run as the head coach of Grambling men's basketball, and he has been awarded, once again, another contract extension, and I can directly connect this reward to the NCAA tournament victory that he just had this past March. Now, Jackson's previous deal had him under contract until 2028. Right? This extension right here, I can say confidently is about the tournament victory because of the length of it. And then also what his contract situation was prior to this extension, because it was extremely unnecessary for him to get it, but it was well-deserved that they gave it to him, right? So Jackson was extended just last year. Just in 2023, he had received a contract extension. And I remember listening. Now, this could be a formality. I remember listening to the 1400 Club when they were talking about Coach Tamika Reed and the contract situation. And they were talking about how in the state of Mississippi, you have a cap on how long of a contract that you can offer a coach. I don't know if it's the same thing in Louisiana, but seeing him him being Dante Jackson, not Jackson State, but Dante Jackson getting a 1-year extension, a year after getting another extension, it kind of makes me feel like it's a very similar situation. So with Reed and the Mississippi coaches, the idea is you can give a certain length of a contract, and then after the first year, you give another 1-year extension so that it matches out to 5 years. And that's what this feels like to me if you're talking about Grambling and Dante Jackson, because Dante Jackson had a contract, or he's under contract until 2028. And after this extension, he's under contract until 2029. 2028 is a lot of security. That's 4 more years. When you really think about it, from now you have 24 to 25, 25 to 26, 26 to 27, 27 to 28. That is 4 years of job security. That man did not need another extension. And I think that looking at where he currently stood is the biggest sign that he got a 1-year extension as a reward for what he was able to do this year for me. This year, he won that championship, or excuse me, he won a SWAC championship for the 3rd time in the regular season, and he won his first ever SWAC tournament championship. It was real slippery. He wasn't able to grab it for years, but then he finally got over that hump. And once he did, he took it to the NCAA tournament and won a game in the big dance in that first 4 round over Montana State. Now, for many people, you're like, oh, that's a pretty solid season. You know, especially me. I'm sitting here like, hey, I'm TSU. I've seen this happen. I'm proud. Go ahead, do your thing, Grambling. I've been there. I know what it feels like. I'm happy for you. But I think it's a little bit different here. I think when that tournament championship has been elusive, when you finally get a hold of it, it's a little bit different than just grabbing it, right? But then also to know that they've never done this in school history. To know that Grambling has never made it to the NCAA tournament, they've never won an NCAA tournament game, and for Dante Jackson to lead you there in your first year, that's a pretty big deal. And I understand why you reward him. That's operating in good faith. That's showing appreciation and showing the value of what he's been able to accomplish. So when you have 4 years left on your deal and you still get a 1-year extension, you know that's just a cherry on top. That feels like the definition of a cherry on top, unless there's some sort of formality in why they couldn't give him a 5-year extension. If that is the case, that changes things a little bit, just a little bit though. It doesn't make me disagree with what I'm saying. It just changes things a little bit, probably a little bit less conviction on it, because now that's a secondary option. But let's make it very clear. Like I've said, he was already extended a year ago in the spring of 23. So it's not as if he just is living off of this one championship and then he's moved on to the NCAA tournament, won a game, and now it's like, well, we got to keep him around. He did just do something. No, he's been doing something. It's like I said earlier, Dante Jackson is in the midst of a 2-year historical run at Grambling University. He's already one of the most winningest coaches in school history. When you look at this previous season, he won and made the first NCAA appearance, right? Grambling had never been in an NCAA tournament game as a D1 program until this year, which means they had never won one until this year. But if you take it back another season until 2023, Dante Jackson led Grambling to their most victories as a D1 program with 24. This is a 2-year run of Jackson going on a historical or achieving something historical with Grambling. So yes, whether it was a 1-year cherry on top extension, whether it was a we couldn't give you the full 5-year extension, whether it was the initial 4-year extension that happened in spring of 2023, Dante Jackson 100% deserves this extension because of what he's been able to do consistently. 3 SWAC championships in a regular season, just won his first one. This is a well-deserved extension. And to me, it's saying we really do appreciate you. We understand what you've done for us, and we want you to know that we love having you here. Let's not get it misconstrued. Let's not have questions about it. I've seen schools who have lost coaches say, man, y'all should have treated that coach a little bit better. No matter how long they stay, man, you should have treated that coach a little, should have got this done, should have done. Grambling is trying to eliminate all of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas that you could have had. So let's say 1 more year for you. I know you were comfortable staying here until 2028, but how about you take this extra year and be here until 2029? In the words of my boy LeBron, you know what? We appreciate, we have more for you. Here's 1 more. That's how LeBron was, man. That's how they did the extension. Now, as you push forward, the HBCU All Stars are going international. It's time for me to crack my fingers, make sure my pronunciation is on point, because we're going to try to pull out the French in this segment as we close out today's episode of Locked On HBCU. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day, every day, making it all the way to segment 3, and I thank you 2 times for that. Can you feel the tension? I maybe it's just me, but I'm a little bit nervous knowing I'm about to have like a couple of French phrases right here that I'm gonna try to pull out. And I'm a tad bit nervous about it. I ain't even gonna sit here and lie to you. Matter of fact, let me get some water so that I can make sure that when I do say it, I say it well. Now, enough of all the disclaimers, enough of the exposition and leading up to it. The HBCU All Stars are going international, and this is the first time. I love this. This is a huge deal, right? The HBCU All Stars are going overseas to compete in Paris at the Quai 54 World Streetball Championships, and this is an extreme rarity. An extreme rarity. And you're going to take this team is going to be made up of players from the previous 3 HBCU All-Star games. So they're going to be names that you're very familiar with, very recently familiar with. You're not going to see anybody from 2015. You're not going to see anybody from 2018. Every single player, is 10 of them. Every single player has been a participant in the HBCU All-Star game, which means it's between 2022 and 2024. I'm going to give you everybody at the end, and then I'm also going to give you what year that they were in it. D'accord? Okay, so now I want to break down what this event is. You're going to see them traveling on the way to Paris right now, June 19th. Happy Juneteenth, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't say that from the beginning. I was too busy worried about getting my French together, and I forgot to say that. Happy Juneteenth to you, man. And for those who do not celebrate, Quai. I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening to me is celebrating, right? So maybe I'm saying that on the wrong platform because everybody here is partaking in the Juneteenth festivities. That being said, they're going to be flying over there today, June 19th. And then also you're going to have the game on the 22nd, 23rd, but the festivities go all the way from June 19th all the way to 2000 or June 26th. So there's 16 teams in this event, and the HBCU All Stars are a part of them. So not only are they flying over for a rare event, they're also going to be a part of an exclusive group. That's only 16 teams. And if you're going through 10 people a team, which is what the HBCU All Stars have, that's 160 people who are selected for this. So, Mongar, let me, I messed that one up. Let me give me one more time. So, Mongar, let me explain to you why this is such an important thing by using the words of Travis L. Williams, the founder and president of HBCU All Stars. This is quote, "This is one of the most important and rare moments in history where we get a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and global platform during the Olympic year in Paris to represent our esteemed HBCUs for premier Black college conferences, the best in Black college basketball, and the United States of America in a part of the world where HBCUs and HBCU culture do not exist." Close quote. Now, it's one thing when you're going to Nevada, like I've suggested. It's one thing when you're going to Phoenix. It's one thing when you're going to New York. These are all within America. It's completely different when you're taking HBCU culture international. It's a completely different thing, right? Because we've talked about taking HBCUs to a New York, a Phoenix, where you don't have them, right? And maybe you're not recruiting. I don't even think this is about recruitment. I think this is just about HBCU pride. This is just about showing out, right? And when you look at what Travis L. Williams says, he speaks about it being an Olympic year. And I do think that adds a little bit of gusto to it. You're not there during the Olympics, but Paris is on fire right now. I can only imagine that the summer of Paris is one that's going to be very popular. You're going to have a lot of tourists. People are coming to tour, be a tourist in Paris, no matter what. But I can assume that'll be even greater when you get here. So let's go through the 10 people, right? So you have Sam Sessions from Coppin State, 2023. You have Javante Cook out of Winston-Salem State, 2022. You have Sean Doss from UAPB, 2023. Kyle Foster out of Howard, 2022. Christian Brown out of Tennessee State, 2024. Mind you, these are the years that they competed in the HBCU All-Star game. And then you keep going. You have Cameron Christian out of Grambling, 2023. Jordan O'Neal out of Jackson State, 2024. You have Kerry Richardson out of Morehouse, 2023. Taj Green out of Benedict College, 2022. And you have Bryson Gresham out of Texas Southern, 2022. It looks like off first look, I think you have more 2022 than 2023. I think it's I could just count it. 123, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so it's probably just even, actually. It's an even split. So you have 4 2022, 4 2023, and you have 2 players from 2024. Now, obviously, this isn't everybody. It might not even be the headliners all the time, but these are the Streetball team members, right? You have Sessions, Cook, Doss, Foster, Brown, O'Neal, Christian, Richardson, Green, and Gresham. Takapte? So, this was fun. Takapte. I got like a little, don't worry, it ain't even important. Just know I enjoyed myself doing this. And we'll be back on Friday to break down the Big South OVC merger and how it's going to be continuing moving forward and how that impacts Tennessee State. So be on the lookout for that on Friday's episode. But in the meantime, in between time, a plus tard.